Good morning, Calvary. Pastor Chad here sharing your word of the day. And we're going to be looking at 1 John chapter 3 today as we continue walking through this letter that John wrote to the church. Now, I don't know about you. Well, actually, I do know. We all love our kids. If you have children, you love your children. And sometimes we're proud of our kids, right? We're excited about who they are and what they're doing, and sometimes not so much. Sometimes, let's be honest, we're embarrassed by their behavior, by their actions, by their choices. And it looks different at different times in their lives, right? If you've had a preschooler and then you've experienced temper tantrums at some point, and you always pray they're not going to happen in public. And when you see somebody else's kid having a temper tantrum in a store, you're always thanking God it's not your child. And I know that there were times when our girls were little that they decided they were going to try that whole temper tantrum thing in public, and I just walked away like, whose kid is that anyway? And then they get a little bit older, and you get that call from the principal at school about something they've done, and you're like, oh no, what did they do now? Or why are you calling me? Because they don't ever have a problem. I actually got a call when my oldest daughter, Amber, was about 8 years old. She was in elementary school. And the principal called me because she had brought a weapon to school. Kid you not, this still cracks me up. She had picked up a little pocket knife about this long. It had a logo on it from a company. It had been a gift thing that I had gotten, and she liked it. And she had it in her backpack. And at school, she was looking for something, and she took it out. And one of the other kids yelled she had a weapon, and she went to the office. They confiscated the little knife. And they called me to come in, and I listened as they told me about the inappropriate having a weapon at school and everything. And so, there's those times we're embarrassed. I wasn't really embarrassed. I thought it was funny. But that first call was a shock. And then, of course, they get older, and they're teenagers or young adults, and a lot of parents grieve over the choices that their kids make. They might be embarrassed, when they get arrested, or they develop an addiction, or they just act in ways that are inconsistent with our values. You see, we want our kids to live out our values because they're our kids. They reflect us. And honestly, we want them to make us look good too, right? Well, John understands that. He's writing to us about our relationship as children of God. 1 John chapter 3, I'm going to skip a little bit. He says this, "See what kind of love the Father has given to us, that we should be called children of God, and so we are. The reason why the world does not know us is that it did not know Him. Beloved, we are God's children now, and what we will be has not yet appeared, but we know that when Jesus appears, we shall be like Him, because we shall see Him as He is." Now I'm going to skip down to verse 10. Listen to this. He says, "By this it is evident that who are the children of God and who are the children of the devil. Whoever does not practice righteousness is not of God, nor is the one who does not love his brother." You see, John is talking about our family characteristics. And this entire passage kind of contrasts the characteristics of the family of God and the family of the devil. And he says, hey, the family of God is a family of love and of purity, and we take the battle of sin seriously. We resist sin. We try to overcome sin in our lives. It's not part of our habits. And then he says the family of devil, they practice, they have habits, they have patterns of sin and rebellion in their lives, full of destruction and anger and unforgiveness and gossip and everything that destroys. And John, honestly, the Apostle John's pretty harsh here. He just kind of calls it out black and white. He says, you are of the family that's revealed by your actions. Not your words, but your actions. He says, that's the family that you are. You ought to read this passage. It's kind of convicting. So when I read this, again, I thought of my trips to China. I've been to China 4 different times, and they have counterfeit everything. You can buy stuff with labels on it that says Coach. Now, I'm not a brand snob, but I'm married to someone who likes nice things. Well, we're in China, and they have Coach purses that you can buy for $10. They're not actually Coach purses. They're a purse that looks like a Coach purse, but it has the label Coach sewn into it. They're illegal to bring into the U.S., by the way, just so you know, because they're counterfeit. They're fakes. And what John is saying is just because you attach the label Christian on your life doesn't mean that you're actually a Christian. Just because you say that you're a follower of Jesus doesn't mean it's really true. He says if you've been changed by Jesus, your life changes. Now, John's not talking about living a perfect life, although sometimes he sounds like it when he says they stop sinning or anyone who sins is of the devil. But he's talking about the way your life is leaning, the way your life is focused. What are you thinking about all the time? Are you thinking about how you can honor God, or are you thinking about how you can indulge the flesh? Are you planning on glorifying Jesus, or are you planning on rebelling against Jesus? Yeah, you know your heart, you know your mind, and the direction that your life is leaning determines or tells us really what's going on in your heart. So here's the thing. If there's no conviction of sin in your life when you're rebelling against God, you got a problem. And you might really want to go back and check that whole relationship with Jesus thing, is what John is saying. So let me just close with this challenge. Let's be Jesus people. Let's love others. Let's love God. Let's live our lives to the glory of Jesus, and let's really work hard to fight against that temptation that is presenting in our lives, because God calls us to love and to purity. I hope that you will surrender your life to Jesus fully and completely today, whether for the first time or for the 1,000th time, that you would continue to say, Jesus, I want you to lead my life because I am your child, and honestly, I don't want you to be embarrassed by me. God bless. Have a great day.